And he would have the audacity. What's going on, you guys? My name is Megan. This is This Fast Romance. Today's video, I have my trusty phone here. And we're going to talk about the books that I've read in July so far. This is my July mid-month wrap-up. I haven't done one of these in a while, so bear with me. It's going to be something. This is going to be in the order of how I read the books, not the order of ranking. I will rank them at the end of the month. So we're going to start with the books that I DNF'd this month. And the first book that I DNF'd this month was Ringmaster by Brianna Hale. I couldn't get into it. I made it like 10 or 15% of the way in. I didn't even make it to the circusy part. She was like, "You're the guy from the circus." And then I was like, "Okay, I'm done, thank you." Second book that I DNF'd this month, I'm really disappointed that I had to DNF it. But on principle, I couldn't read it. I couldn't finish it. And that is Road to Nowhere by M. Robinson. You guys know, if you've seen my KU TBR, which I'll have in the cards, I was so excited about this book because it was a motorcycle club, best friend's little sister romance. And I have kind of been into more little darker romance books lately. It kind of started with It Ain't Me Babe, and I've been reading things that are a little darker, a little spicier. I've been borrowing books from Tamika. You know, I read Little Dove last month. I've been doing some darker stuff. Creed is the main guy in Road to Nowhere, and he talks about how his dad had a girl come in and basically have sex with him when he was 11. And I had to stop, and I was like, oh my god. And the book starts with Creed getting pleasured by a random girl he doesn't know, and he's 17. I was very uncomfortable. And it takes a lot. It really takes a lot to make me fully uncomfortable, to the point that I won't continue past the part. But I couldn't do it. It was just the 11-year-old, and then he says, his little brother said, "Dude, you were raped." And Creed said, "You can't rape the willing." At 11, that's not even a possibility. I got sick. I couldn't do it. I don't think I'll ever read an M. Robinson book after that. I don't know how you can write that unnecessarily, and it didn't have to be described on page, for sure. So let's turn to the weird book, the weirdest book I've read so far this month, and probably the weirdest book I will read this month. I Married a Lizardman by Regine Abel. It's exactly what it sounds like. This book follows Susan and Olex. Susan is a third daughter, and on her planet, third daughters are just kind of treated like trash. Like, you want to marry a first daughter because she gets the land. You want to marry a second daughter for some reason. Third daughter is essentially pointless. So she goes to like a matchmaking agency. They match her with Olex, tell her that he is a lizard. I don't remember what his people are called. Like, I don't remember what his species is called. But Olex basically tells the matchmaking company, match with whoever, I don't care. And she essentially says the same thing. However, she gets alerted and gets the opportunity to say yes or no, whereas Olex doesn't. He's just like, just whoever. I'm cool with whoever. Send her my way. So she does all this research on Olex's people and how, you know, how their anatomy works. It was odd. But it ended up being really, really fantastic. Like, it ended up being a whole lot better than I expected it to be. By the end of the book, I really enjoyed it. I went into this with basically no expectations. And by the time I got like 30% of the way through, like, Tamika had read it, Izzy had read it. We're in a group chat with a bunch of other people who were reading it, and they had all read it and said it was really cute. So I got through it. I read it. I did enjoy it. I also listened to, through my library, through the Brooklyn library, not my library, the Kentucky library. I don't think they have Katee Robert. But I listened to The Marriage Contract by Katee Robert. I really enjoyed this. It was mafia families. And Callie was part of a mafia family, and she's supposed to marry this guy named Brendan, who's part of another mafia family, and they're going to join the two mafia families together in, there's like a turf war coming up, and there's 3 mafia families in Boston, and Callie's family and this other family are going to be joined together because Callie's marriage with Brendan, but then she finds out Brendan is running a sex ring, like a sex trafficking ring, and he kind of roughs her up and he tries to kill her so that she kills him, and that's kind of how the book takes off. And she ends up marrying Teague from the O'Malley family, and Teague is a sweetheart in a way. Teague just kind of accepts, like, okay, I have to marry her. I don't have an option. I have to marry this girl. So if this is the person I have to marry, I'm going to love her best I can. He's not mean to her. They kind of have an instant, like, spark. Almost. It's not insta love, but it's an instant, I'm going to have to protect you for the rest of my life because of who I am, what I do, and what we're doing here in this transaction. Essentially, this marriage was a transaction, and he was just, look at her wrong and I'll kill you, is Teague. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I want to read the second book in this series. It's like on a 10-week wait, so I'll probably end up purchasing it if we're honest with each other. Callie was also a badass in her own right. Don't take that, don't twist what I'm saying. Teague would have went to the ends of the earth to protect her, but Callie didn't need him to. So take that for what you will. Also, I don't remember what her full name is because it's kind of hard to pronounce, especially with my accent, but they all called her Callie. So Callie. And a shocking turn of events, I read another Katee Robert. I read Forbidden Fling by Kat Taylor. Kat Taylor is Katee Roberts' erotica pen name. I've never read erotica, and now I have. This book follows Nevaeh and Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is her boyfriend's dad. We never find out his real name. You never find out his first name. She calls him Mr. Jones. She calls him Daddy. She calls him Sir. And that's it. We do not know what his first name is. It was just sex. There wasn't a whole lot of plot. Basically, Nevaeh's boyfriend is like, I'm gonna take you to my dad's beach house. And Nevaeh's like, cool. And then he's like, hey, I'm gonna bring my friends. So Nevaeh is basically like, okay, you bring your friends? I'm gonna have sex with your dad. I'm gonna have a lot of sex with your dad. And she does. And then she gets caught having sex with his dad, and there was no HEA. And at the end of the book, he's like, if I'm ever in the area, like, I'll call you. And she was like, no, you won't. We don't like each other. And it was just, I don't know. It was different, and I didn't hate it. I've also listened to Roomies by Christina Lauren this month. And you guys know I love Christina Lauren. I love the author duo Christina Lauren. I don't know if Christina Lauren can ever top In the Holidays or The Unhoneymooners for me. I love both of those books so much. Roomies follows Calvin and Holland. If you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me tweet this because I have a Google Doc, and I took a screenshot of my Google Doc on Monday. This book is a marriage of convenience in an attempt to get Calvin a green card. So Holland's uncle is a Broadway musical theater producer, and she finds Calvin on the subway, and she's at this big crush on him for like 6 months. She won't talk to him. She gets drunk. She talks to him. This whole thing happens. I have to say, I really enjoyed it once I got, you know, out of my funk. It wasn't terrible, but like at the end, I just couldn't. I was really proud of Holland for figuring out who she was, but I struggled. Like, I felt bad for her through this whole book. Everyone was just, I feel like everyone was just mean to her. She was just trying to make everybody happy and make everybody's life better. And the last book I've listened to so far this month, because I did listen to it, I did not read it physically. These are from like March. Was The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. However, I do have a physical copy of the book. I did listen to it on audio though. I checked it out from my library. I really enjoyed it. This follows Dominic and Shay. They faked a relationship and fake broke up for a radio show / podcast. I love fake dating. I love office romances. Their boss was a total jerk face. Total jerk face. It was awful. He was awful. But I did enjoy this book. I enjoyed listening to it. I really like it. If you're interested in fake dating and office romances, here's one. My favorite thing they say in this book is WWMWMD, and that's what would a mediocre white man do? And he would have the audacity. If you were curious, he would have the audacity. Whatever you're thinking, a mediocre white man would have the audacity. So this book, it was actually really good, and I'm really glad that I own a physical copy of it. Number one, I don't have to think about going to buy it. I already own it. But it was super cute. And I love Dominic. And Shay is like 5 years older than Dominic. He's like 24, she's 29 or 30. So she is slightly older than him. And it puts them in 2 separate generations, which was really cool to see because I relate to that. I have a brother that's 4 years older than me. And I feel like we're in 2 separate generations. And we literally grew up in the same household, 4 years apart. I feel like we're from separate generations. So, this book was really good. I did really enjoy it. I even liked the ending. I awed out loud in the car. I had to travel a little bit today. And, I even awed out loud at the ending. So yeah, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, yeah, leave me a microphone emoji. Any form of the microphone emoji down below, since this was the last book I read. I actually just finished it today. That's it for me. Like I said, microphone emoji down below if you enjoyed this video. If you made it to the end, let me know your favorite book you've read this month. Let me know your favorite book you've read this month. Leave me a microphone emoji. And let me know your favorite way to take care of yourself. To do some self-care. As always, just be good to yourself. Take care of yourself. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.